Hey friend, this is episode number 504 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so.
Hello, beautiful human. Welcome to the And So podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you. Today, I got a lot on the agenda. I got a good nugget for you. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about my hiring update. So far for Smitty's, I had a really good interview with a salesperson, and dang if I didn't know I was competing against other sales jobs for this gentleman. And with our position, I just knew by the time I was finished chatting with him that there was no way he was going to say yes, even if I offered him the moon, because my moon and what else he was going out to interview for didn't compare to the solar system or the galaxy that the others were probably going to gift him. So, when you find a good one, it's very, very hard. Your carrots have to be really big. And mine were not. But I do know that those kinds of humans do exist. So I'm still on the hunt. I have been no-showed more times with these interviews than I could have ever predicted. It is mind-boggling to me that somebody would accept an interview request, choose a time that works in their calendar based on my calendar, and then no-show. I don't understand this. I don't understand ghosting. I don't understand being just professional and saying, hey, something else has come up. I appreciate the opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Just no-shows. The no-shows are what is getting me. And I've had cancellations and I'm getting the notification on the cancellation. And yeah, sometimes they don't give me a reason. Sometimes they do, which I appreciate. But the no-shows, that's really bothering me. So I have yet to extend any kind of opportunity to somebody with Smitty's. And then on the flip side with Sugar Creek, I had a stellar interview with a human. And then I had a so-so interview with another human. And then I saw somebody apply and I was like, okay, they are pre-qualified for the role. And let's extend out an invitation. So I did. They scheduled and they selected a date so far away. My calendar was only running 2 weeks at a time. They selected the furthest date at the lowest time that they could. So a 5:30 on a Thursday, literally 2 weeks later. So by the time we got to their interview day, and the only reason I didn't go ahead and hire the first person that I just really connected with is I've done that twice and it's not worked out for me really well. So I wanted to give myself an opportunity to see let's interview a few people. Let's not just say yes to the first person. And so this person ended up with the flu. And she messaged me and said, I'm so sorry. I think I have the flu. There's no way I can come in. Is there any way we can reschedule? And because I literally waited 2 weeks, I was like, I really do need to hire somebody quickly. But if you can, schedule in on this day, or this day, I'm happy to move your interviews. So she selected again the furthest time, which, to be fair, she thought she had the flu. I don't know if this was real or not. The flu is going around, by the way, so it is very real possibility. And she wanted to Zoom, and I was like, no, there's no way that you are going to understand the scope of this job over a Zoom, and I'm just not going to do that. So I pushed it to today, which is a Monday, and I get a message at about 30 minutes out from her actual appointment, and she tells me she has a family emergency, that she cannot make the appointment, and she wishes me the best of luck in finding somebody for my position. I literally waited for this human to interview with me because what I saw in her resume, I thought fit what I was looking for, and I wanted to have the opportunity to explore that in person. And all the while holding at arm's length this other very well qualified human. And now I don't know if I'm even going to get the qualified human, because I waited for this girl to drop me twice. So that's frustrating. I don't know if you've ever been in that position where you really saw something on paper with somebody and you tried to accommodate, and I don't know, there's got to be something I got to learn from this somehow. I don't know what it is, and I really don't want to keep my interview process open further, but if this one that I extended the opportunity to is no longer available or has found something else, I'm going to have to. And the crappy part is that I've spent nearly $300 trying to find somebody. That is so incredibly ridiculous on so many levels to find somebody to hire. I've spent quite a bit on Smitty's and have had one really awesome dude who I knew, like I said, was probably not going to come back because he was just a freaking rock star salesperson. Oh gosh, the hiring world, y'all. The hiring world. It is something else. It's something else. All right, so last week I totally forgot to talk about what I was reading, which is fine because I didn't do a ton of reading between the week before and last week. So we've got some little bits to talk about. So I am currently reading The Wedding People by Alison Espach, Espach. And I'm listening to that one. And then I'm reading Lucy Score's Things We Left Behind, which is number 3 in that series. I enjoyed number 1 and number 2. And sometimes I like to read series when it's got similar characters, but they focus on, one character that they've previously mentioned in other books. But it's rare that I will follow through on series books when it's multiple characters that get mentioned over and over, and it's just their point of view. I don't find that I am held very long when it comes to those kinds of books. I like to do standalone unless it's a series with the same characters over and over and over, and they're told from the same points of view over and over and over. Like Sue Grafton and the Alphabet series with Kinsey Millhone. It is the book about Kinsey Millhone through a full series. Like, that is what I like series books. Nancy Drew, G.K. Parks with the Alexis Parker series. Like, those I can get in because it's revisiting that character through a multitude of stories. I love those. Okay, so those are the 2 that I am currently reading. I just finished The Stolen Queen by Fiona Davis. This one just came out. I've read Fiona Davis in the past. It's historical fiction with some elements of truth, and holy cow, for me, this was a good one. I never would have imagined. This was a really good read, 5 stars. I also finished Almost Dead, which is book number 2 in the series by Lisa Jackson, the Cahill series. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Super wordy for me. I was reading this one, so I listened to The Stolen Queen. Highly recommend. I was reading Almost Dead, and man, it was wordy. I need a good mix of talking and then description. I don't need to be overly wordy. So I did find myself really booking it through and just super skimming the wordiness, because I follow a story through conversation and not so much about the description. It's just how my brain works. So 4 out of 5. And then I also finished listening to The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. And Kate Quinn always does good things for me. And I really just enjoyed this story. It is historical fiction. And just everything I've read by Kate Quinn is 5 stars. This one was no different. So that wraps up what I've been reading, what I have read. And now let's go into purging.coms. Oh my gosh, you guys, I own so many .coms. I am embarrassed to say how many. So recently I did a big purge and I'm getting emails from GoDaddy. Hey, don't let your domains expire, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, no, GoDaddy, I don't want them back. I will buy a domain the moment I think of an idea, because I want to make sure I own the domain once I flesh out the idea. And I decided to go through all of my domains and turn off the auto renewals on a bunch of them. There's really no point. I sat with each one and I was like, am I ever going to do anything with this? What is the scope of the project if I keep it, et cetera, et cetera. And I just let so many go, which is going to be great on my bank account. I did last year, I enrolled in something that GoDaddy offers for those of us that have a bajillion .coms to save money on the bajillion .coms, because, they got to renew every year. Even if you buy them 1 year, 2 year, 5 years in advance, eventually they will renew. And yeah, so I purged a lot of .coms. That was something that I just did. And then let's talk about 1099s. So I have 1099s. Most every contractor that works for me is a 1099 human. And I didn't realize how many subcontractors I worked with through our construction company in 2024. Wowzer. I did not anticipate the right amount of forms that I needed. So thank you, Amazon, for overnighting me 1 day ship some more forms, because I didn't think I had that many to do. And wow, I did. And I have a spreadsheet that was built by Roxanne, Open Book CA on Instagram. I love her. I couldn't get QuickBooks to work for me the way that I need QuickBooks to work for me, because I have so many businesses and a lot of things to track. We tried tags. I've spoken about the horrible experience I had with a CPA trying to do my books and what that cost me. And anyways, I went to Roxanne and had her build me a custom spreadsheet that is on Google. It could be Excel, but this is something that she can get back into if something goes wonky. And so I've been using Roxanne's spreadsheet that she built me since 2022 or 2021. And as I have oh crap, I need this thing built too. And then I just rehire her to build the thing. I found Roxanne through Etsy. She has a bunch of templates you can buy. She actually has this spreadsheet that you can buy. I just had her customize it for what I needed. I can do individual P&Ls for every one of my businesses. I can track my subcontractor totals. And ultimately in 2024 spreadsheet, I had her build me a tab that it could track my subcontractor data. And that was going to be helpful for me when I did my 1099s. Well, unfortunately, there was a glitch in one of the months. And as I was going through, I was like, oh my gosh, this is not right. So I had to hand calculate a lot of my 1099s for my subs, which, it took me extra time. It took me 2 days of working on it, probably 6 hours one day and maybe 2 hours the next day. I did it all on time. I got all my 1099s submitted to the IRS on time. But I had my accountant do this last year, and then I got a bill for it. And I was like, I hate it when people are like, hey, do you want me to do that thing for you? And then, oh, by the way, here's a bill. Like, can you just be honest that something's going to cost your client something? That's like one time I talked to a lawyer on the phone. He was my lawyer at the time, and we were having a phone conversation, and I received a bill. Had I known that we were in billable time, I would have emailed him. I wouldn't have had a conversation because my emails wouldn't have been billed like my phone conversation was. I just thought it was easier because he told me it was easier. And then I got a bill and I was like, that is really sketch. Like, can you not just be upfront with how you do business? And why I didn't think my accountant wouldn't charge me, I guess it was in the tone and the delivery of, hey, I'm happy to take care of your 1099s for you. Like, I'm providing you the data. You're quickly entering it and spitting out a form. Like, because then I handed them out. I mailed them. She didn't. So I was like, you know what? I'll do it this year. My spreadsheet's going to take care of it. Joke's on me. Joke's on me. So 2025, we are going to be good. Everything is going to be grand. It's all going to work appropriately. Roxanne is already on it. She fixed 2024. So now it is computing correctly. And because I still have taxes to do. And then 2025, she already went in. She's made sure it's good. So we're good. We're golden. 2025 1099s. Here I come. I got it. Got it. Okay, so those are my topics that I ran through for you today. My garden's doing really good. My seed's starting. I shouldn't say my garden. My garden's hanging in and is ready for me to do something with it. But we do have fake spring right now in Texas, and we do have some cold weather coming back in next week. February is one of those things, but you know what? We've already hit 80 degrees. That's really unsettling. Yes, unsettling that at the beginning of February, we are already at 80 degrees. And then we're going to hit 34, maybe next week. We'll see. But wow, we already have flu. We don't need more flu. This is not going to be helpful for people. And you talk about God's creation is thinking we're already in spring, and Mother Nature's going to be like, yeah, psych. Yeah, no, we still have winter. Spring is not until March 21st. Get with the program. Okay, I do want to talk about numbers before I get into this week's nugget, which is about gratitude. And I talked last week about compounding interest with your social channels. And I still think there is so much weight to this. So let's run through my numbers. So last week on YouTube, I had 234 subs as of the recording. Right now, as of this recording, I'm at 240. I gained 6 subs in a week. TikTok, my previous numbers, I had 139 followers and 1,386 likes. And I am now at 155 followers and 1,802 likes. Man, TikTok. By the way, TikTok is not working all that well. It's supposed to be banned, but it's not really banned. But if you go into the iOS store, you're not going to find it. There are no updates happening in the TikTok app. So not everything's really working all that great. But I am here for these number differences, okay? And then on Instagram, I was at 3,470 followers last week. I gained 2. They happened today, by the way. So now I'm at 3,472 followers. The difference between the platforms is crazy. It is crazy. That just shows you how hard it is to grow on Instagram. Now, granted, I do not have a super niche happening with my lifestyle account. If I was hardcore in this with Boss Girl Creative and super niche down to talking about, how to run a business online or grow a business online, I might see the needle moving a little bit more. But even when I was doing those experiments in the beginning of 2024, I was still not seeing the needle move that great. So it's hard on Instagram unless it's like you got to get to 10,000 and then it's will compound on itself. But getting there is so frustrating. And so I understand why people are just like giving the finger to Instagram. And I've seen a lot of creators lately, especially in the garden space, really talk about building up their blogs again and jumping ship off of Meta and going into just YouTube and blog. And I can see why. I can see why that Meta just makes it super challenging. But then I see some people in the homesteading space killing it on Meta. Like maybe not so much Instagram, but like killing it over on Facebook. And how wild is the audience differences between the two Meta-owned platforms? Now, we're not talking about Threads because I don't have a lot of data on Threads, but seeing the differences between Facebook and Instagram, which are both Meta companies, it's wild. So I don't want you to think that you cannot replicate your content across other social channels and work this compounding interest angle, because I think you can. Now, the one thing that I'm not all that thrilled about on YouTube Shorts, so as I mentioned last week, I'm making my content on Instagram. I'm downloading it before I hit publish, so there's no watermark. I pull it over into TikTok, and I usually can find the same sound that I've used over on Instagram. When I can't, I find something that also works. And then once I publish it there, I go upload it into YouTube. Well, one of the most recent reels that I made was My Memory versus My Memory. And because I am a huge country music fan, especially 90s country, I went into the John Michael Montgomery Sold song. And the fact that I know all of those words still this many years later, it was a perfect My Memory versus My Memory meme. And so I'm singing the lyrics to that John Michael Montgomery song. And then in the next clip or the next blip is me counting napkins and forgetting where I was and having to start over. Like the way our memories work, it's so wild. And so I was able to replicate that over on TikTok by finding that song. Now, I was not able to find John Michael Montgomery's version, which was shocking because he had other music in the TikTok platform. But over on YouTube, I could find the song, but I couldn't control the part where I'm silent talking out loud. Not silent talking out loud. I meant like counting to myself and then saying out loud, gotta start over. And so there's no way to stop your audio on Shorts so that you can use a second audio. And you can do that on Reels and you can do that on TikTok. So that's a little frustrating. So I wasn't able to push that one over onto YouTube. Everything else that I created in the last week, it all went to all three places except for that one. So that is one thing that I hope YouTube eventually gets to. And maybe on desktop there is a way to do it, but on your phone there's not. So yeah, so fun. So fun. But I do think that there is power in compounding interest on social. And that if you're not finding a whole lot of movement on Instagram, I do encourage you to try other platforms because I do think there is a way to compound your interest. I mean, I'm literal proof of it. Okay, so let's get into the nugget. I have a book that is called The Morning Magic 5-Minute Journal. I will link it in the show notes for this episode 504. It is inspiring prompts to set intentions and live with gratitude all day. And it's broken up into some topics. Now, the daily stuff has nothing to do with the topic, but it is broken up to be grateful for certain things. So like one of them is food. One of them is being safe in the world. Another one is, let me flip to it, is family and so on and so forth. It is written by Tanya J. Peterson. And she empowers people to reduce obstacles like anxiety and move forward to create a quality life. Her books include the 5-Minute Anxiety Relief Journal, the Mindfulness Workbook for Anxiety, and more. Visit her online at TanyaJPeterson.com, or it might be TanyaJPeterson.com. It's TanyaJPeterson.com, Peterson. Okay, so I've had this book since 2021. Now, I'm not usually that great, and I'm wondering if I have ADHD that's undiagnosed. I'm not that great at keeping up with things, like these kinds of things. And you think I would be, but I'm not. So I made it through. My last date is January 22nd, 2021. So to give you some backstory, in 2021, I owned some land in a neighborhood with a crazy lady. Okay. So the book asks you the same questions every day. And as a reminder, this one is called The Morning Magic 5-Minute Journal, Inspiring Prompts to Set Intentions and Live with Gratitude All Day. Okay, so the questions are based in these categories: vision, intention, gratitude, release, and space. So the vision question is, what would make today great? And in January 22nd, 2021, I wrote booking 3 clients. The intention question was, today I will, this is what I wrote, clean my house and clear away clutter. The gratitude question was, I'm grateful for husband, house, friends, family, life, home, warehouse, and clients. The release question, I let go of fear and anxiety related to our house and neighbor drama. And my space question is, on my mind, in my heart, on my shoulders, lighting my way. Best friend's birthday is today. Want to also serve others today in any capacity that I can. What I find interesting, and one of them that I wrote in the release, is feelings of unworthiness. I wrote the need to control the outcome. I wrote needing to control the how of my life. I let go of doubt, fear, scarcity, unworthiness, worry. Like, it's crazy to go back and see what I really struggled with, but also to see that I'm no longer best friends with that person that had the birthday on the 22nd. And that relationship ended in the most profound way for me. And it was such a loss, a hard loss that I still am coping with. But the other part is so still true. I want to also serve others today in any capacity that I can. And what I think this book helps with is making space for the things that are pulling and pushing you, right? So having a vision, having intention, having gratitude, having release, having space. So if you could answer these things for yourself, how would you answer them? What would make today great for you? What is your intention for today? What are you grateful for today? What are you willing to let go of today? And finally, what is on your mind? What is in your heart? What is on your shoulders? What is lighting your way? Giving space to that. How would you be able to move forward in life with those questions pushing you? So with this book, The Vision, What Would Make Today Great? Consider your vision for today. How would you like the day to unfold? Capture your ambitions, however they show up in your mind, and make them as specific as you'd like. For your intention, today I will. Record how you will put your vision into action. You can write down big steps you'd like to take or one simple action that's most important to you now. For your gratitude, I'm grateful for. Reflect on things big, small, or in between for which you are grateful. There is no such thing as a little gratitude because every moment of gratitude helps us flex our positivity and awareness. Release, I let go of. Commit to letting go of things that aren't serving you. What worries, thoughts, or situations need attention? How will you release them from your mental grasp? Will you take a specific action to solve an ongoing problem? The possibilities for letting go are numerous. And finally, space. On my mind, in my heart, on my shoulders, lighting my way. Use this open writing space to express anything else that's on your mind. What thoughts flashed across your awareness as you woke up? Desire or inspiration? A worry or concern? When you release something negative, you make room in your mind, heart, and life for something bigger. How will you fill your growing space? And now I'm going to leave you with a quote. Go inward and inquire, and you will see that all your miseries exist because you support them. Without your support, nothing can exist. Because you give it energy, it exists. If you don't give it energy, it cannot exist. That is from Osho, Emotional Wellness, Transforming Fear, Anger, and Jealousy into Creative Energy. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to share your recent wins with me, whether they're big or small or in between. Share them with me at Boss Girl Creative over on Instagram, or send me an email, taylor@bossgirlcreative.com. I do want to hear from you, so don't be shy. I'd love to see your name in my inbox or in my DMs, and just give me a moment to find it. If you could only see how many emails I have sitting in my inbox, but I will find it, and I will be your biggest cheerleader for that moment. I just want you to share them with me. Again, thank you for listening, and until next time, I hope you have a great rest of the week.
And Phil, let's go. Let's go.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.